Bill Owens joins us now. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Tom.
When we sat here a couple of weeks ago, we covered quite a bit, but apparently I forgot to ask you if you were planning to retire in 2 days after our interview.
It appears you did.
So welcome back. We'll ask you now. Why the decision to retire? Why now?
Well, clearly we're getting into the campaign season. This was an appropriate time to make the decision. One we started talking about in the family Thanksgiving time, and really didn't make the decision till around New Year's. It was a difficult decision to come to, but we made a family decision that it was time for us to turn a new chapter in our lives.
I think everyone probably wonders, was there something though that made you stop to think that do I want to continue doing this? Was there an event? Was there a health issue? Was it the frustration and gridlock in Washington that you've been putting up with over the past several months? We know you've talked about that and your frustration trying to get the Farm Bill passed. You said those weren't driving factors in your decision, but was there something that made you give pause and say?
There was no particular event or statement or action. It was an accumulation of circumstances, but fundamentally came down to a family decision. And as I said in my statement, it's time to spend more time with my family as I go forward. I was 65 on January the 20th. So for me, this has been a great 5 years. I could not have imagined a better thing to do with my life during that period. I learned a great deal. I met incredibly interesting people, both in the district and down in Washington. And I am delighted that I have the opportunity to do this.
People are surprised. They're not used to people serving a term or two in Congress and then walking away.
Well, this was, again, I had no plan when I ran for how long I would stay. I have no particular plan on my departure. It's not that I'm leaving to go to do something specific. That's not where I'm at. I'm very comfortable with the period that I served, and I think I'll be very comfortable in the next chapter in my life.
No job lined up, no appointments waiting?
None whatsoever. My goal is to largely come back to the region and figure out how I can best continue to accomplish the goals that I think are important. And I know you've heard me say this once or twice, but continuing economic development, job development will stay one of my top priorities when I come back.
How do you hope to be able to do that?
Well, I think to step back into some of the roles that I played with the Chamber of Commerce, but I'd like to expand that around the district, help people in Glens Falls, help people in St. Lawrence County, help folks in Jefferson County, because I have an expanded experience, and I think that I can be of value to people in the community doing those kinds of things.
Your announcement was a surprise to many, even the leadership of the Democratic Party. Had you not discussed this in advance with them?
I had discussed it with a few people in advance, about a week or so before. They asked me to go back and rethink it, which I honored that request, and spent the last weekend before the announcement reanalyzing my decision and concluded it was still the right one.
Safe to say they're disappointed?
I think so. But as I've said to a lot of people, I was a surprise in 2009. My suspicion is there's another pleasant surprise out there.
But it comes at a year that they were really hoping to make a run at winning back control of the House, 17-seat difference there, and now I think you're the third or fourth Democrat to retire that was in a district that they considered safe or winnable. So
that's balanced off in reality by the 9 or 10 Republicans who have retired and have created toss-up seats where they've retired. So I think on balance, there's not been much aggregate damage done by the retirements in either party.
So this wasn't a decision having anything to do with re-election, either having enough campaign funds or the fact that you could face another grueling re-election campaign. I mean, you've had 3 tough elections.
I've had 3 tough fights. This is not walking away from another tough fight. This is a decision, as I said, that really was based upon an accumulation of events and then a conversation that said, really, it's time to spend more time with the family.
You think you would have won. You would have won re-election if you had run this time.
I'm fairly comfortable with that. You never know in this business, but I was comfortable that I was in a good position.
Obviously, Republicans now hope that they can win this seat back. They had this seat for so many years, dating back to the Civil War, so they see an opportunity here.
Clearly they do. I think what everyone should take from my experience is, as I've often said, the district is filled with Rockefeller Republicans and Reagan Democrats. They are people who are on either side of the line depending upon the issue. They are looking for someone who is going to balance the issues, and I think it's a mistake for either party to nominate someone who is an ideologue, who will tack strictly with their party. I do not think that that will sell in the district because I think people have had the experience of my representation where I have made decisions based upon the issue and how I think it was going to affect the district and what I thought the district wanted. So I think that people really have to pay attention to that when they make their analysis in terms of who they're going to select as the candidate.
This district isn't like it was 5 years ago. It truly has turned a shade of purple.
I think it is a purple district now.
Even though the Republicans have 50,000 more registered
Again,
voters.
I think many of those folks are Rockefeller Republicans. You know, they're a lot like my now deceased partner, Ron Stafford, who really was a Rockefeller Republican. He was looking to do the best thing for his constituents. That was the focus of his life in politics. And I think that that colors it differently than an ideologue.
The Democrats have to come up with a candidate to run now. Have you talked to any potential candidates? Did you talk to any before your decision, and have you talked to any since?
I have certainly talked to a number of people since my decision. No one has committed as yet, so I would be reluctant to bring their names forward. But we have had conversations. I think there are a couple of real good candidates out there, and I'm hopeful that one of them commits to doing it.
You have 11 months to go in office. You're not leaving tomorrow. So in your last 11 months in office, what do you hope to accomplish?
First of all, the Farm Bill. I really want to see that get passed. I am extraordinarily frustrated by the way that's been handled, particularly by the Republican side of the aisle in the House. Mr. Boehner has made some outrageous comments about the Farm Bill that are, I think, wholly inappropriate. Frank Lucas and Colin Peterson, the chair and the ranking member, have done a magnificent job of trying to negotiate something that is a balanced approach to the Farm Bill and to how it affects the national deficit and budget. The second area is I'm going to continue to work hard for fact-based decision-making coupled with a bipartisan approach to my colleagues. I think if I can leave Congress having accomplished anything of significance, that will be the outcome. Not that specific votes of mine change the tide in any way, but just the message to other members of Congress that you can be bipartisan and you can be reelected.
And you hope that'll be your legacy.
That's right.
Bill Owens, thanks a lot for taking the time to come by. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it.